Good evening, and I'd like to call to order the, March 15th meeting of the Los Gatos Town Council. This is a good time to turn off your cell phone or turn it on vibrate, and we'll begin with the roll call, please.
Councilmember Mike Wasserman.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Rice.
Here.
Councilmember Barbara Spector.
Here.
Vice Mayor Joe Brzezinski.
Here.
Mayor and Chair Diane McNutt.
Here. Every week at our council meeting, we have something called the Future Leaders Program, where we identify a young person in our community who has great potential to be a leader. She already is a leader now, as it will turn out in just a minute. I'll tell you a bit more about her, but also who we think will really take a very strong leadership role in the community as she grows into adulthood. Tonight we have Caitlin Weinstein, and she's a fifth grader at Van Meter Elementary. Let me tell you a little bit about Caitlin, according to her teachers, a reliable source of information. She is a role model for other students, very helpful, and gets along with everyone. She's outstanding academically and demonstrates outstanding character and compassion. She's a member of the Lunch Buddy program. She's a volunteer to help special needs students at lunch recess. She is a rainy day monitor, and she's currently sponsoring a drive to help pets at the Humane Society. And she recently performed in the school's drama production of The Jungle Book. So Caitlin's going to come up and help us do the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand. Come on up, Caitlin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Applause for Caitlin, please. Thank you. Dan? It's a gift, and then the council will shake your hands, and we've got 4 people that are standing. I told Caitlin and her mom that they did not have to stay through the whole meeting, so they have an officially excused absence here. Next, closed session report. This will be very brief. Attorney?
There is no closed session report this evening.
Thank you. Under council matters, anything from the council? Vice Mayor Brzezinski.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to report that I attended, as well as the manager, the annual membership meeting of the Santa Clara County Cities Association. This is a meeting wherein the managers of all cities and towns of the county, as well as the electeds, are invited to spend the evening together to talk about political business and the workings of good government. One of the interesting presentations this particular session was the debate between the 2 candidates for district attorney for this year's election, and from the perspective of the body, I think it was very informative. And so, for our purposes, I think that it was a meeting that was very well worthwhile. And the manager's presentation was delivered on his behalf by the manager of Campbell, since Greg had to depart a little early, and the presentation for the manager went to the very end of the agenda. I don't know whether the intent was to keep everyone in the house until that presentation took place, but in any regard, the manager's presentation was very well received as well by the body, and that's my report on this Thursday's meeting.
Thank you. Any other council matters? Seeing none, manager matters. Mr. Larson.
Mayor, members of the council, a few items. One, as the council knows, last week we opened a new exhibit here in the council chambers entitled Celebration of California Life, Water, Nature, People. And this was presented in their original works by the Senior Art Workshop largely consisting of Los Gatos residents. So we're glad to have this new exhibit in the chambers. Second, I'm pleased to report that our police chief, Scott Seaman, was just elected a week and a half ago by the California Police Chiefs Association as their second vice president of Cal Chiefs, representing all chiefs in California, rising up in 2 years to be president of that organization. Scott? And then at the last council meeting, there was discussion about traffic and pedestrian improvements and changes being made on the boulevard near Kennedy Road. There has been a public discussion for that neighborhood set for Tuesday, the 30th, and it will be at 7 p.m. on the 31st at Van Meter Cafeteria. And that's when we'll be discussing with the public those issues and items. That concludes staff report at this time, except for Wednesday the 31st. Did I say Tuesday? It should have been Wednesday the 31st. Let me clarify that date. Wednesday the 31st will be at 7 p.m., the Van Meter Cafeteria, for residents interested in the boulevard improvements near Kennedy Road. Felt a little bit like Jon Stewart. No. Last is we have our Did You Know section, which we've started in the last few months, where we like to highlight a new service or a continuing service of the town. And tonight presenting for us is adult librarian Henry Bankhead, who will talk about using smartphones to access town library services. Henry?
Good evening. Did you know that you can use your smartphone to access essential library services? The Los Gatos Library now has a new, free, downloadable mobile application that provides all of the most useful features found in our website from the convenience of your smartphone or mobile device. You can check your account, place holds, renew items, see our book lists, contact us, follow our blog and tweets, and map the library location. You can also search the catalog using a new, faster instant search that gives you results as you type. To obtain the new free library application, point your phone's browser to lgpl.boopsy.com. iPhone users can go to the App Store and search for Los Gatos Library. Android users will find the application at the Android Market. This application also works on iPod Touch, Windows Mobile, Palm, and Symbian devices. For more information and for screenshots of the application, you can go to the library's mobile application webpage found at www.losgatosca.gov/mobile.
Thank you so much. And I happen to know that Los Gatos is one of very few libraries in the state to have this new application. So we're one of the first out of the box, so I hope we have a lot of people start to use it. Let's see. Anything else, Mr. Larson, under manager matters?
That concludes staff report.
Okay. Next on the agenda then is consent items. And I have 2 or 3 comments on consent before I find out if anybody wants to pull any item for further discussion. First of all, regarding agenda item number 4, I'm going to ask the clerk administrator to read the title of that one item, please.
A temporary ordinance amending section 2.30.295 of the Los Gatos Town Code regarding the general powers and duties of the town manager, granting enforcement flexibility during recognized periods of national, regional, and local economic adversity.
Thank you. I also want to note for the audience that one of the consent items that we'll be voting on in a minute, if there's no further discussion, is agenda item number 7, which is actually authorizing the staff to put the fabulous new library out for bid for construction. So I'm sure you saw that the preliminary work is already underway over there in the when you came into the parking lot, and so this is a really serious and exciting step in the process. So, council, is there anyone who wants to pull anything off of consent for Mr. Rice?
I'm not going to pull anything off of consent, but just for the record, I'm recusing myself from number 3.
Thank you. Anyone else to pull anything off of consent? Is there anyone in the audience who wants to pull anything off of consent? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion for approval of consent, noting that I will be voting no on number 3.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, with the exception noted. Thank you. Next on the agenda is verbal communication. This is your opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak on anything not on tonight's agenda. I have one card, but if you would like to speak on anything, you can fill out a card and come on up. But in the meantime, we have Mary Ann Sasaki. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Marianne Sasaki.
Bring it down just a little bit. Thank you.
Marianne Sasaki, 17989 Saratoga Los Gatos Road, Monte Sereno. I would like to bring up the historical plaques at the Town Plaza and their condition. Every time I see them, I cringe because it's always full of grime and dirt and dried up ice cream, whatever, and not very visible to the eye. And I doubt if anyone, not too many people probably don't pay too much attention to it. It's just, and I feel really bad about that, because I think that our history is very important, and I think that if we could possibly move them to a different location, that's my, I feel that it should be put where it can be seen readily and appreciated, because the history of Los Gatos is very rich from the very beginning, and I'm also a part of it. I'm the third generation. My mother was born and raised in the Santa Cruz Mountains. She had many stories to tell about growing up in the 1900s, and maybe that's how I became very interested in history. And I myself grew up here in the 40s and the 50s when Los Gatos was a mere town and not as it is today. So I saw the changes, and I do appreciate everything that's happened here, and I hope that we can move those plaques to a better location or some other way. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Pause just a second to see if a council member has any question. Mr. Pazinski?
I don't have a question, but I think Mrs. Saki's point is well made. I assume you're referring to the pictures that are embedded in the walkway where the railroad track is?
Yes.
And the intent there is that those are actual historic railroad tracks from the time when that was Station Way. And we do have a series of graphics that are embedded in that surface. I think that the point should be that we should take a look at that and see if we can't do some restoration, because she's absolutely right that it's kind of invisible at this point in time. So I would recommend that staff take a look at that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Wasserman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to add on to Vice Mayor Brzezinski's comments and suggest that might be an opportunity for a public-private kind of partnership, taking care of somebody to adopt the plaque kind of thing that might make sense all the way around.
Staff will follow up and respond to council through items on our review of this. And I'd like to ask Mrs. Asaki to provide your information to our staff person so we can follow up with you unless the card is sufficiently detailed.
A phone and email would be good to connect.
If Pamela or Todd, if you could get the information, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak tonight under verbal communication? Seeing none, we'll move on in the agenda as my binder falls apart here. We have one public hearing tonight. This is item number 8. It's a request for a zone change from R120 to R18 at 17230 Buena Vista Avenue. We do have desk items tonight, Council, and we'll begin with a staff report by Marnie Mosley, Assistant Planner.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Would you guys like a moment to look at the desk items before I begin? Or?
I think we had enough time beforehand for once
Okay,
to actually
great.
look at it. Thank you.
The subject site is located at 17230 Buena Vista Avenue, approximately 150 feet east of Winchester Boulevard. The parcel consists of 21,344 square feet, and all surrounding properties are single-family with zoning designations of R18, R110, R112, and R120. The applicant is proposing to rezone the 21,344 square foot R120 property to an R18 designation, which is also a single-family residential zone, with a minimum lot size of requirement of 8,000 square feet. All properties in the neighborhood, including the subject parcel, have a general plan designation of low-density residential, which is 0 to 5 dwelling units per acre. A rezoning to R18 would allow a maximum of 2 lots if a subdivision were proposed. While a subdivision application is not being considered at this time, a 2-lot subdivision would be compatible in terms of lot size and frontage with parcels in the immediate neighborhood. The proposed R18 zoning designation would be consistent with the lots to the west of the subject parcel. Lot frontages in the immediate neighborhood range from 20 feet to 166 feet, with an average frontage of 87 feet. Lot sizes range from 6,970 square feet to 39,640 square feet, with an average of 15,284 square feet. A future subdivision could potentially create to approximately 10,800 square foot lots with 80 feet of frontage each. This slide has been provided to the council as a desk item, along with an aerial map. Both should help the council in better reviewing the context of the neighborhood. The zoning map provided in your desk item identifies 15 non-conforming lots in the immediate neighborhood. The lots are considered non-conforming if they lack the minimum lot size, frontage, or depth required by the zoning designation. Of those 15 non-conforming properties, 13 are non-conforming as to the required lot size. The Conceptual Development Advisory Committee considered the zone change and a 2-lot subdivision on May 13, 2009. The committee was not opposed to zone change or subdivision, but discussed concerns including tree removal, size, and massing considerations for the new houses. The Planning Commission reviewed the proposed zone change on February 10, 2010. Both the Planning Commission and the neighborhood discussed concerns in regards to the neighborhood compatibility. The concerns were predominantly in regards to the location and design of the future houses. Based on the information presented, the Commission felt the zone change was consistent with the neighborhood and would provide an opportunity to redevelop the parcel and create 2 more compatible homes to the neighborhood. The Commission recommended approval of the zone change application with the recommendation that any future subdivision or architecture and site applications be referred to the Commission for review. Staff recommends the Town Council accept the Planning Commission's recommendation, make the required findings provided in Attachment 3, and approve the zone change application. This completes staff's report. We are here if you have any questions.
Thank you. And before council asks you questions, I do want to say to anyone here that if you want to speak on this item tonight, and I have no cards, including the applicant, you should fill out a card and bring it on up so that we have those ready to go as soon as we get to the public hearing. Questions by Mrs. Spector.
Thank you. The question for staff, probably the town attorney. Attachment 4 has a proposed ordinance. It references an Exhibit A. Is Exhibit A the reverse side, or is there a different document that is supposed to be Exhibit A?
I think I'm going to have to defer to Ms. Mosley on that. I don't know if this is Exhibit A. Exhibit A is the change to the zoning map.
And for staff's information, this is the same document that went to the Planning Commission in the same form.
The zoning map is usually, the attached zoning map to an ordinance is usually the official zoning map showing a different zoning designation, is it not?
That is correct. The wrong map got attached to the back of that ordinance.
All right, so it will be some other document.
Staff does have it prepared, it's just, it didn't get attached.
All right, thank you. And then realizing that what we have before us now is a zone change request, having read the minutes from the Planning Commission, I realized that a lot of the issues that came up at that venue related to subdivisions and architecture and site type of issues. I just wanted to confirm that the subdivision application and the A and architecture and site will be subsequent to this. Is that correct, first of all?
Correct.
And will both or either of those applications be going to the Planning Commission?
If that is the direction of the council, staff could proceed that way.
All right, thank you.
And just for further clarification, the correct zoning map is attached in your packet. It's actually the back of Exhibit.
The exhibit that's provided in the staff report to the Planning Commission is similar to what should have been attached to the back of the ordinance, but there are several fields that were filled in, providing dates and information that is not on that version of it, but would be what you would be approving in the as far as an exhibit.
So as the attorney and Ms. Mosley have just referenced, on the back of Exhibit 7 is the map that is identical to what should have been attached at the back of Exhibit 4, with the exception that the dates of the Planning Commission would have been added. So you do have sufficient information for action tonight.
Thank you. Mrs. Spector, are you done?
Thank you all.
Okay. Other questions by council? I just want to reemphasize that there are 3 parts to this, and tonight is step 1, the zoning, and then the subdivision and A&S. Are subdivision and A&S, are they likely to, if they proceed, are they likely to come together as one package, or would that be 2 separate hearings?
Most likely, I think that they would proceed together due to the nature that the subdivision would require, the placement of the lot line for a subdivision would require approval of an architecture and site application to demolish the existing house. So it makes sense for the applicant to proceed with both together.
And those wouldn't normally just automatically go to Planning Commission? We have to specify that in a motion or direction to staff tonight?
The scope of those applications wouldn't require Planning Commission to review them. The Development Review Committee would have the authority to approve them, but based on direction from Council and the Planning Commission, staff can proceed in that manner.
And does that need to be in a motion, or does that just direction?
Direction would be sufficient, given its DRC discretion, and so DRC would follow the direction of council in that case.
Okay. And then I'm curious if you, I guess I think I know the answer to this, but I want to verify. I'm curious as to the origin of this neighborhood, because the map that we got that was part of the presentation to the Planning Commission that was color-coded is one of the more colorful quilts that I've seen of a neighborhood, and then you gave us another that showed the zoning. So we always like to say we're very proud of our eclectic neighborhoods, and this certainly qualifies as eclectic. So how did that come to be?
I don't know that I have adequate information. You guys may have better history knowledge on the way that neighborhood progressed better than I would. I've done research on it, but there's not a whole lot in our records that really leads us to answers on that.
My assumption was that it had to do with annexation at different times through the county.
It definitely does.
Okay. Any other questions? Any disclosures? I will disclose I visited the property.
As did I.
Mayor?
As did I.
I make 4.
As did I, and it's a magnificent view at the end of that street.
It is.
Looking out over there. That was just
It
Place.
is.
Beautiful, beautiful Los Gatos. Bless you.
So, before we open the public hearing, Mr. Rice will conclude his sneezing, and then we need a motion to accept the report from the Planning Commission in the form of minutes.
I move to accept the report from the Planning Commission as noted in attachment 2.
Second.
And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay, now I'm going to open a public hearing, and the way this works is the applicant will have up to 10 minutes to make a presentation to council and to the community. And then I have no other cards, but if you want to speak on this item, if you put a card in, each of you will have up to 3 minutes to offer your comments. And then we will close with rebuttal by the applicant for up to 5 minutes. Then we'll close the public hearing, and council will do its deliberation. So the only card I have right now is Brad McCurdy, representing the applicant.
Hi, Brad McCurdy with Terry Martin Associates Architects, applicant. We agree with the staff report. We've worked to try to do this step separately from the other two, and wanted to note specifically that at the time of step 2 and 3, we're more than happy to address additionally the concerns that were raised through this process. So things like massing and retaining trees, vegetation screening, that type of concern are more appropriate at those times. So we certainly look forward to addressing those further during the process. But I think it's probably best if I just close and say that we're here to answer any questions you guys might have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCurdy. Do we have questions of the applicant? And we do not.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item tonight? Seeing none, I'm guessing the applicant has no rebuttal? Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and turn to council for discussion, questions, motions, whatever your pleasure is. Vice Mayor Przinsky.
Madam Mayor, I would like to make the required findings for the zone change that's indicated in Exhibit 3. The findings, first the CEQA findings that the project's exempt under statutory exemption 21083.3. The state environmental guidelines is adopted by the town and is compatible with existing general plan and adopted EIR for the existing general plan, and in conformance with the general plan. The project is in conformance with the general plan designation of low-density residential, in that the proposed zoning designation would conform to the 0 to 5 units per acre density designation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Did you want to do a motion to waive the reading?
I will so move to waive the reading of the zone change ordinance.
I'll second that as well.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. I'd like to direct the clerk to read the title, please.
An ordinance of the Town of Los Gatos amending the zoning map from R-120 to R-18 for property located at 17230 Buena Vista Avenue.
Thank you. Further discussion or motions? Vice Mayor Przinsky.
I'll move to introduce the ordinance to effectuate the zone change. That's attachment 4, but noting that that this should return to the Planning Commission for the next 2 phases of the project, including ANS and the subdivision, because there will be, I'm sure, a lot of discussion regarding mass and scale and conformity to the neighborhood, and that was the recommendation of the Planning Commission. I'd like to affirm that.
Okay.
I will second that as well.
All right. Discussion?
Mayor, staff takes as implicit the map correction as the attachment to that ordinance.
Yes.
I have one comment to make before we do the vote, and that is the recommendation or comment by staff as this moves forward of tossing out 2 of the houses in terms of defining a neighborhood that they felt were quite different than the other homes. And I am in no way saying that I would like to see those houses replicated on these 2 parcels should it be subdivided someday. But I am concerned about arbitrarily picking two homes in the vicinity that are quite different because although I made a whole statement about how this is the most eclectic of our eclectic neighborhoods, in some ways, we do have an awful lot of neighborhoods where there is such a variety of homes that I want to be cautious about just plucking one or two out of the mix as you analyze neighborhood compatibility. It felt a little arbitrary to me, so it was just a cautionary note as we go forward in this process to be careful in that and to think about that closely. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Mr. Attorney, is there anything else we need to do on this item?
The second reading will be brought back, and there is no appeal issue, so that should conclude it.
Okay. And I have no more agenda items for tonight, so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.